YouTube. Now, today, people, I gotta tell y'all. All right, The Promised Neverland is such a breath of fresh air to watching anime. Like, I haven't been hooked from an anime's episode 1 in a very long time. And when I tell you, if you have been on the fence about getting into The Promised Neverland, just watch episode 1, okay? I can't say that for a lot of anime, but for The Promised Neverland, if you get into episode 1, you're gonna watch episode 2 and you're gonna watch episode 3. You really, like, if you have something to do tomorrow, don't watch it at midnight before you go to sleep, because that's where I made the mistake. I watched it right before I went to sleep, and I stayed up for an hour and a half binge watching the other 2 episodes. Now, The Promised Neverland is an anime about this group of orphans that all live together in this orphanage, in this giant estate mansion, if you will, in the middle of a forest. It's actually kind of sketchy if you think about it, because they're in the middle of a forest and because it's a mansion in the middle of the forest. But there are certain rules. Well, before I say the rules, there is a mother who oversees the orphanage, and her name is Isabella, and she is the mother of the orphanage. And it's like 35 kids, maybe 40 kids, something like that. They mentioned it, but there's a good decent amount of kids. Now, all the kids there are under the age of 12. All right, and when you get to the beginning of the episode, you're introduced to Emma, Norman, and Ray, who are the eldest of the group of orphanage, and they are all 11 years old. All 3 of them are 11 years old. So they usually help out with the younger kids and things of that nature, help feed them, change them, get them up and ready in the morning, as well as a couple 10-year-old kids there. But it's really those 3 kids, and they are also your main protagonists of the series. Now, The Promise, because it's in the title, and this isn't a spoiler, I will always tell y'all if I'm going to spoil something significant to the plot, but the story is called The Promised Neverland. And so the promise is, Isabella told all the kids there that no matter what, every single one of you will be adopted before the age of 12. That instantly caught me off guard when Emma said that in the first episode, because you have to be careful with absolutes. You're telling me every child will be adopted no matter what before the age of 12? That's kind of like, I don't see how you're gonna make that happen. But as you quickly find out in this anime, everything is not what it appears to be. Okay, so this is where we get into like minor spoilers. That beginning half that I just went over, it was kind of like, if you haven't seen the series and you want to get into the series, then that's the first half. Now, this is where I get into more so of the breakdown, or the review, if you will. More so a breakdown, because I'll be going over details of the show. So in episode 1, everything that I just said just happened. They're introduced to the main protagonists of the series. They're just going through their normal day with what they're doing. They're playing tag, and after that, they take kind of like this placement test. And this placement test is, well, not even a placement test, it's like a seasonal test, because they've taken it multiple times since growing up in the orphanage. Norman, Emma, and Ray always are the top 3, achieving like perfect scores in the class. So they've taken it the most times, and it's just going through their daily life in the orphanage. Now, it seems normal. You're like, okay, this is it almost comes off as a slice of life anime. And if I was watching it for the first time with nothing to go off of, I would assume, okay, this is a slice of life. But it's not, because Connie is being adopted for the first time that day. Now, she's being adopted, and so she's about to leave. So she leaves the orphanage. They say their goodbye. This is towards the end of the episode, and she had forgot her bunny that she usually carries with her. So Emma, Ray, Norman, and this other girl with glasses, they all see the bunny, and then Emma and Norman decide to go and run this all the way down to her where she is about to leave and be picked up. So they get there, they walk inside, they don't see their mother, they don't see Connie. And I'm trying to tell you, things just go from 0 to 100, and it just takes a huge turn. Like, it went so far left, this anime, because I don't want to spoil this part for you, because I want you to have the same reaction that I think everybody did from their first time watching this anime or reading the manga. It went so far left, we hit a U-turn. We hit a U-turn, then Emma and Norman hit a U-turn as well, and they, look, just watch it. I'm not going to spoil that particular moment for you, even during the breakdown, because I feel some people are still watching it, but their minds is just blown about what they see, and you see the true facade behind the orphanage and what it actually is. So that was really episode 1. Now episode 2, I'm going to have to really spoil it, and I'm diving into like more so details about this anime. Okay, now once they find out that the orphanage is just a farm that these demons are using to raise these children in order to harvest them, in order to sell them and eat them, Emma and Norman are freaking out. So like they go back, and it's a normal reaction. They don't know, I mean they assume, and they were right to assume, Isabella knows that kids were down there. They're at this gate that they were told never to go to, and because they left the bunny, they knew that, yo, there were humans here. The kids were here specifically because they're the only ones there. It's Isabella and the kids there. She knows that there's someone there, and she's very suspicious of it, but she just doesn't know who was down there. Within this, Norman and Emma start to construct this plan that allows for them to escape. Now Norman has the idea, hey look, we're all not going to be able to get away. So it just needs to be the oldest kids, Norman, Emma, and Ray. That's what Norman suggests. Emma's like, I'm not going to leave these kids here at the orphanage to die, just so we can escape. So she talked Norman into trying to create a plan that allows for all the kids to escape. Now, maybe on paper that sounds good, but when you factor in the fact that this is an orphanage, so you have babies that can't walk, you have to carry them. You have kids between the ages of 1 to 5 who can't really run. Okay, they're not coordinated enough to run, so they are going to either 1, be extremely slow, or 2, they're going to have to be carried as well. There's less older kids than there are younger kids, so there may be about 5 between Emma, Norman, Ray, the black kid, and the bitch with glasses. You got about 5 older kids that could really assist these young ones with running. Maybe 7, because they have about a couple 8-year-olds in there that I see are able to move a lot when they would play tag. So not a lot to go off of. You're talking about upwards of 30 kids you have to sneak out of an orphanage. How do you sneak 30 kids out of an orphanage? But this is the conundrum that Emma has put Ray and Norman into, that they all have to figure out. Now, I say Ray because later on he actually becomes involved with it, but as of episode 2, for like the first like 20 minutes, Ray still doesn't know anything that happened down at the harvest area where Isabella took Connie. And because of that, he is very suspicious. Ray is the smartest kid there. Well, Ray and Norman, they achieve perfect scores on all of their tests that they take. Emma receives like, maybe like a 9 out of 10, while Ray and Norman receive 10 out of 10s. But they're the 3 smartest. They're also the 3 oldest. They've been there the longest. Now, I left something out which is very interesting, because while Connie and Norman and Ray are trying to construct this plan to escape, Isabella is already onto the fact that some group of kids saw the harvest area and know exactly why they're there and why they are in an orphanage and why everybody leaves before the age of 12. Though she loses a kid. One of the kids comes back and is like, oh, I got separated from one of the kids, and they're in the forest, right? It's a big gated area, so there's only so far she can go. Isabella displays an ability to track these kids wherever they are, and she does it purposefully so that Emma and Ray and Norman know, even if you try to run, I have a way of tracking each and every single one of you down. So that just throws a wrench in their plan, because now, okay, well, how are they able to track us? How will we be able to get away? That's something else that they have to figure out before they even attempt to escape. Like, they can attempt to escape, but unless they find how she's able to do the thing that she does in order to find them, it's all for nothing. So that's something that has to be discussed. Like I said, at the end of the episode, they fill in Ray on everything, and Ray has the same mindset as Norman. We have to get away by ourselves, but clearly that's not what Emma wants to do, and what Emma wants to do, so they're all gonna, be sacrificial lambs for them. So in the third episode, you were introduced to the Demon Supreme Lord Alpha Omega himself. Well, you're not introduced to him, but he is mentioned, the Tefari. So they understand that the older you are, the more exquisite you are, and more exquisite your brain is. These demons, they eat the children's brain. I know, original. Oh well, they eat the children's brain. So you get higher up there, and you're talking about steak and fine dining and breathing. So if you're 12, you're a delicacy to them. If you're 6, then you're a Wendy's 4 for 4. Now Emma gets this incredible idea to use tag to help train the kids how to hide their presence, how to hide, and things of that nature. All of this is happening. Emma gets caught, and it's important to realize that this is a good moment to develop your character and develop Emma as a character, because it's realized that she isn't going to be able to save the kids how she thinks she's going to be able to save the kids, because she got caught while she was running with 2 of the little kids in her arms. And you have to Emma really has to understand this, and you as a watcher have to understand this. If she tries that when they really do escape, she's going to get caught and she's going to die. She wants to save all of her friends and quote-unquote brothers and sisters, but what she needs to understand is you're not saving them if all of y'all die together beyond the wall, or you can die with inside the wall. You're not saving anybody if they're not able to protect themselves. So that's something that is important to note. And I want to end this video off with saying that while they're meeting, they realize that Isabella doesn't have to be everywhere to know what it is that they're doing. Now, I should have mentioned, Nexus. I should have mentioned that there was a second adult that came in to live with them. Her name escapes me. I think it's Crone, but her name escapes me. She's black, she's cool. But she just got there. But Emma and Norman and Ray understand that Isabella has been knowing what they're doing since before she had got there. So they all come to the same conclusion that Isabella has an inside kid that's reporting on them to her. So let's break this down even further, okay? Because it's not hard to guess. Because it can only, it can be any of them, but realistically, it can only be one of the 4. Really, one of the 3. Really, one of the 2. At the time that Emma and Norman went to go deliver Connie's bunny to her, because when she left to get quote-unquote adopted, she left her bunny that you always see her with in the first episode. So they went to go give that to her, so like, hey, this is yours, you take it with you. Well, they went down to where she was supposed to be adopted, quotes, she was already killed and put in the incubator and about to ship off. So they left the bunny there. Isabella already assumes, well, she knows at this point. She knows that it was Emma and Norman that was there. How does she know that? Why does she know that? Like I said, it's like 30 to 40 kids there. It could have been any one of them realistically, but that's not what. But she knew from like the episode 2 that it was Norman and Emma that was there. So I take you back to that scene when they were running in episode 1 to go give her the bunny. It was Ray, Emma, Norman, and it was Shawty with the glasses. It was only 4 people there. One of the 4 have to be the informant, because they're the only ones who knew that Emma and Norman left that day. Unless there's going to be like some flashback in a later episode of them running by another kid, we can only assume that one of the 4 is the snitch. I'm just going to exclude Emma and Norman from that bunch. And so that means you're only left with 2 people who could be the snitch. Ray and Shawty with glasses. Shawty with glasses been giving me the creepies since episode 2 and 3. So I'm leaning for it to be her as the snitch. But then Ray has always kind of been on the fence in the episodes, like, let us escape, but you leave the kids. Like, he's really with the shits. We're just leaving them and letting them be. So I'm kind of inclined to think it would be him too, but that really wouldn't make sense. I mean, it kind of would, but it seems really obvious that it's the Shawty with glasses that's the snitch. But I feel like there's going to be something in there that is like Ray's actually the snitch. But nonetheless, this video is dragged on long enough. If you don't know by now, I will be continuing a weekly review of this series, The Promised Neverland. Stay tuned, because next week a new episode drops and I will be reviewing single episodes from here on out. I will also be introducing another anime series to the channel on a weekly review. It's actually one of the first questions that I got on my channel to review the Shield Hero. So that will be coming in as well. Y'all, if you made it to the end of the video, please subscribe for more. Comment, like, and share. And like always, keep it safe and wrap it tight. I'm out.
UAV available for tasking. Black Ops are contesting B. Taking Alpha.